secretly get his proprietary system for oxy powder. This is the global leader. And then I'm done talking about it. He has the proprietary system. Others have tried to imitate it. They can't. Where it opens up in the intestines and then literally blows it out of there and literally interacts with the plaques, I guess the pre-diverticula, I guess you would call it, that's in there to boil all this out. And it's just amazing that this system literally doesn't want people to know about this. And you were talking about talking to gastrointestinal experts, medical doctors. They're not even aware of it.
Yes, that's right. I mean, as I was doing research and kept going further and further and further, it was amazing to me that our medical scientists, the best in the world that supposedly know about everything in the human body, still didn't know about the appendix or what the appendix does. And when I was studying the intestinal tract and learning so much about how all this works and how the holes are getting burnt in there and why people aren't cleaning their intestines on a regular basis and how all this led to disease. And then I stumbled across the appendix, and I'm like, let me pull up some medical literature on the appendix. You know, it's got to be important in the body. It's right there at the juncture of the small intestine and the large intestine, and there was nothing there. I was like, wait a second, why is this being hidden? Why is this being hidden?
They say the appendix and the gallbladder are vestigial. That's obviously not true.
Oh, not at all. I mean, I had to actually dig up Russian documents and German documents and have them translated to figure out what the appendix was. And then it was just like, oh my gosh, the appendix is the microcomputer system of your whole body. You think your brain is, but really it's the appendix. The appendix controls your neurological system, your endocrine system, all of the systems of the body. It tells the body what's coming in, what's going out. Why wouldn't your microcomputer be located in your intestines? That's the first exposure point to every single thing that comes into your body. And the appendix is what controls all that and what sends the messages, and it's about the size of your penis.
By the way, just reading medical literature every day because I'm a news hound, I've seen mainline news over the years admitting that they'd, quote, found cells in the intestines that communicate with the spine and the brain. It's all interconnected. That's why they say go with your gut, because your brain's communicating with your stomach, and it's literally like dinosaurs had multiple brains. Well, we basically do. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying. The brain of the body is actually the appendix. And so what happens when the appendix becomes inflamed is that you've poisoned it and it's become inflamed. And so what does modern medicine do? They take it out. And then you have all kinds of health problems after that. I mean, that's just one.
Well, they say the gallbladder's not needed.
Right.
But from what I've read, they know it helps detox the liver. It's the liver's trash can, right?
Right. When the liver is congested and the liver is toxic, the gallbladder gets congested, stones start to form in the gallbladder, and then you have a gallbladder attack. And instead of taking medicinal herbs to loosen it up, turn those stones into sponges so they can pass through the ducts, so they can be pushed out of the body, we take the whole gallbladder out. And then the liver has to work and start.
So basically, from what I've read medically, but I'm doing this in layman terms, the liver vomits out poison after it's processed it into the back into the guts to be flushed out.
The liver has detoxification systems, and it takes the nutrients, it takes the toxins, and converts some toxins into usable forms, or it takes the nutrients and converts them into usable forms for the body. The problem is, it's like an oil filter in your car. If you don't change your oil filter, and your oil filter becomes congested, and the blood can't pump through it, and it can't work properly, then the liver also has stones in it, which most people don't know. They think that the gallbladder just has stones. When's the last time you've seen a doctor do an ultrasound of the liver? They just don't do it. They don't want you to know. It's like another organ. The intestines and the liver are actually the two most important organs in the body that need to be cleansed on a regular basis, because the liver becomes so congested. It's like high blood pressure. You know, when someone has high blood pressure, it's not that you have high blood pressure, it's that your liver is so congested and full of stuff that the blood can't even pump through it anymore, and the heart has to pump faster and harder to push the blood through it, so it backs up, and then all of a sudden...
I was reading about the liver. It can be upwards of half dead and grow back. I mean, it is just amazing.
Yes, and the liver regenerates itself every 90 days. That's why, you know, but in order to clean the liver, you need to have healthy intestines. That's why I always start off with intestinal cleansing and then move on to liver and gallbladder cleansing. And there's nothing or no symptom that can't be rectified by just cleansing your body. That's why people did fasting. That's why, you know, people do juicing and they get results.
That's why the Bible said fast and then take herbs. They would eat the herbs at Passover and things like that.
Exactly. I mean, the intestines is just your skin turned inside out. It's made of epithelial tissue just like your skin. And as a matter of fact, when we came out with Oxy powder, people with all kinds of skin conditions, especially acne, all of it started going away, and I had to actually sign an agreement with one of the Oxy companies that came out with a patent for the little pads that you use to rub on your face. The Oxy powder was working so good, and people were writing about it online, but they had the patent for Oxy and acne, so I had to actually take any claims off in referencing acne for the product. But the point I'm trying to make is, anything that you have going on in your skin is also a direct result of what's going on in your bowel. So once you clean your bowel, everything starts to clean up. Your skin starts to clean up. The organs start to clean up. You start having regular bowel movements. You know, people think that they have bowel movement, one bowel movement a day is okay. And I talk to people all the time, and they say that they drink a cup of coffee in the morning, they have a bowel movement, and they're fine. Well, what coffee does is actually cause inflammation and irritation to the bowel. That's why you have that bowel movement. You know, people need to focus on eating clean foods, avoid you know, toxic beverages, avoid the MSG, avoid the GMO foods. You know, really what wreaks havoc on the intestinal lining is a combination of all those things, especially gluten now as well. So my recommendations are, you know, clean your intestines on a regular basis. You know, the herbal formulas out there, if you want to use them every now and then, that's fine. But the only way you're really going to truly clean the intestines is with oxygen cleansing. And once your intestines are clean, and you're getting that stuff out of your body on a regular basis, it doesn't have time to soak in. You know, just imagine if you're taking in 1,000 particles of fluoride and pesticides and endocrine disrupting chemicals every day and BPAs and all this other stuff, and they sit inside your intestines. Within 3 days, they have time to leak through and then go to your organs and cause disease. But if you're cleansing your bowel on a regular basis, those chemicals that cause the disease aren't able to get into your bloodstream and then, you know, cause you to have all the type of symptoms or develop the diseases that you might have.
Well, I tell you, for the age you are, you look like you're 10 years younger than you are.
Yeah, and I take Oxy powder and clean my bowels all the time, but I eat healthy too. You know, I eat organic, and water is another big thing. You know, most people are dehydrated and your bowels need water. You need to flush the pipe. You know, just think if you had a pipe-like trash can and you didn't have a liner in it and you threw your food in there, you know, every time, and then you emptied the trash can out, and the next day you threw all your food particles in there and you emptied the trash can. Every day would be a small layer of food particles building up on that trash can. And after 30 years, the trash can that was originally this big, the hole in it might be this big. And if, you know, you're not taking that trash can and hosing it down and rinsing it out every day, you know, that's the problem.
Yeah, it's all really gross, so I'm not going to get into it, but it's absolutely true. And it is just, it's so incredible how they've suppressed all this information because they want us sick, because they want to treat the illnesses. They don't want to actually get rid of them. They don't want to find out why breast cancer or diabetes is exploding, even though we know why. They want to just treat it. Yeah. It's just incredible. Dr. Group is our guest. I'm Alex Jones. If you just joined us, we covered a lot of really hardcore police state news, you name it. Obama's set to announce all these military actions against who he armed, ISIS. That's coming up tonight. We've got Colonel Schaefer joining us in the next hour, and our reporters are going to be popping in as well. But while we have you here with us, I want to show for TV viewers, radio listeners, can just go to Infowars.com or PrisonPlanet.com to find this. Video model shows how Ebola will spread. It only takes one infection individually making it through an airport checkpoint. Health officials around the world are scrambling to contain the Ebola virus. And this breaks down how it could literally get to millions if just one carrier gets through. It's clearly gone somewhat airborne. That was in the medical data 2 years ago, mainline science. It's not super airborne, but it can, in spit particles or mucus particles sneezed out, transfer from apes to humans, or in the studies, from monkeys to pigs. And a month ago, this was already the biggest Ebola outbreak ever. Now you've got 2,300 plus deaths, and half of those are in the last 21 days. It's reaching that exponential number because now it doesn't show up in 3 days if you get Ebola. It shows up in a couple weeks. They think it's mutating. We know it has a history of being genetically manipulated by different Western governments. Here's what I'm saying. We know that mass plagues have killed a third of Europe, the Black Plague. We know that this stuff can be real. We know the Spanish flu killed tens of millions at the end of World War I. So I'm concerned about this. If there's a real outbreak, we're not going to be told, though. My great-uncle died last November. He lived across the street from my uncle. My aunt had taken care of my great-uncle. My cousin, who lived nearby, Peter, got a respiratory issue, was home a few days, found dead in the morning. My uncle had taken care of him. He fought it for a month, and the doctors said that